Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're about halfway through our first term as the Prime Minister of Germany. We have a surplus of 10 billion, which kind of came out of nowhere. We're just doing really well in that sense. Feeling great. We have a technological advantage, which is giving our country like a major boost to productivity, and it's fighting off the corporate exodus, which we are basically determining that will go away here in a second. Next cycle it'll go away, and we'll get a huge boost to our GDP and to our all of this stuff is going to go away. So the capitalists will be more happy with us, and the GDP will get a big bump up, which is pretty exciting. This is some exciting stuff. We got money to spend over here. We alcohol abuses should be on the way down because alcohol consumption should be on the way down. We're bringing it down, but honestly, it's taking a little bit. It's just that I think our GDP is doing so well, so it keeps pushing it up. We wanted to legalize, yes, we wanted to legalize other drugs to reduce alcohol consumption. Even though it doesn't show it here, I believe on the other page, on the alcohol consumption page, it did say that legalization of drugs would reduce, which makes sense because now people would pick their poison, you know what I mean? So let's apply this and go up to let's go one step. Let's go one step past legalization of cannabis. Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to tax. We've regulated, or we've legalized and regulated. We need to tax. Recreational drug tax. Yoink. It says only 1.25 billion in income. Really? Not very popular with the voters, but hey, people don't know what they need. This guy's really angry with us. Can we like fire him or something? The problem with this guy, here, where is he? Is when you fire someone, I think it makes everybody else less happy with you. Is he just unhappy because his sympathies are with commuters and religious? We're not really helping those two groups. He's good at campaigning, apparently. Kind of has a low loyalty. These other peeps up here have a high loyalty, which is why they probably like us. So, like, can I fire this guy? And how does it... it negatively affects everybody else. Yep. When you just fire someone like that, it negatively hits everybody else. Yikes. We really don't have anyone amazing here for transportation. Trade unionists like us, I think, generally speaking. Yeah, I think we ended up kind of like, we might not even have gotten a net gain there. I think we lost political capital by firing that guy. I don't particularly like that. I mean, if this person is just being a jerk and being annoying, these people like their job, what does firing that person really do? I understand what it's coming across. It's like, oh, wow, people are getting axed in the office. You know what I mean? Like, I get that, but I kind of think it's a little bit silly that you fire someone and then they all don't like you. And now it's like, okay, well, technically we need to fire him and we need to fire him. And by the time you fire both of these guys, all these people that loved you a second ago now hate you. And it's like, no, we're just trying to like get a more healthy work environment in here by getting rid of the complainers. You know what I mean? Nope. So I wish that was a little... I guess what you're supposed to do is reshuffle the entire cabinet. It just feels like 10 capital to do that is just expensive. All right, well, we're out of capital. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see if we can get to the election. Maybe not this episode, probably next episode. There we go. Corporate exodus is gone. GDP is like maxed. Like this is like, boom, health is maxed. Education is maxed. GDP is maxed. I don't think we're doing anything impressive here, but crime is actually on the way up. Unemployment still, we could try to bring down unemployment. Hundreds of prisoners have been sentenced in a single hearing, violating international standards for a fair trial. The facts of individual cases cannot possibly have been properly considered during this travesty of justice. It doesn't seem to have any effects on our country, but that sounds kind of weird. Real estate bubble. Our data shows that we will have a potentially bad situation on our hands. Rent controls bring this down. Population brings it up. GDP brings it up. Capitalists bring it up. Rent controls. This is very cheap to do. Capitalists do not like. An alternative to state housing system is a system where the state regulates the private rental market in a bid to ensure the supply of affordable housing for all, and even within the private sector. Capitalists will naturally see this as a deterioration of the free market that will prevent enough homes being built, whereas supporters will say it prevents exploitation of the poor by greedy landlords. Reduces the generational wealth gap. That's good. We're just going to do a slight adjustment. Just a tiny little adjustment to try to bring that down a little bit. Because that does look like it could be bad news bears. Uncompetitive economy. Where are we looking with this? There's got to be other ways to knock out the uncompetitive economy, right? We've been really ramping our productivity, but minimum wage. Or some, people love to point out that in weird sort of, malicious ways or deceptive ways that some European countries have no minimum wage, but those European countries that are pointed at and talked about have extremely high unionization rates, right? So that a minimum wage just effectively is just kind of a pointless proposition because everybody's unionized and getting paid higher than other countries in their vicinity that have minimum wages. So you could look at it like, hey, now in this case, within the game context, right, to lower the minimum wage would be to take a hit to, poverty and stuff like that. But you could look at it like, okay, well, if you're going to adopt the actual system of some of the European countries, Scandinavian countries, that don't have a minimum wage, and instead just have high, strong labor unions and stuff, then you'd kind of be just tackling the inequality problem, poverty problem, low income. From a different angle, right? Basically. So, but the game doesn't really look at it that way. I think if we were to just slash the minimum wage, then the game would look at it like, okay, now these companies are able to exploit more people more easily or something like that. So this has come down, but it's not coming down like as much as we want. This is actually going up. Because the environment's going down. Because the GDP is so good. The GDP is so good. Clean energy subsidies. These are literally maxed. I mean, I feel like our CO2 emissions have to be like, there's a little bit of CO2 emission. A little bit, but you'd think it would. Some of this stuff looks like it's still trying to kick in, right? It's still, the light red makes it sound like it's still in the process of trying to implementation delay. See, it's light. I think it's still taking a certain amount of time for it to kick in, is what that's telling us there. 18 political capital is not really enough to do much. We could just skip this turn. Middle income people are actually really upset with us. What is a solidarity tax? A top up to income tax that is particular to Germany, and which was introduced to help cover the costs associated with the reunification of East and West Germany and the need to upgrade infrastructure throughout East Germany. Oh, wow. That's really, really cool. That's really, really cool. Okay, so essentially, cool that the Germans had collectively, democratically wanted this to happen. you know, and willing to, you know, to reunify the country and unify together like that. That's, I don't know. I think that's kind of neat. The wealthy really don't like this, but hey, you know, middle incomes don't like this either. Fraud? What about welfare fraud? When government gives so much money out in welfare payments, it's essential that the money is correctly targeted and not exploited by people making superfluous claims. A dedicated fraud department will detect false claimants, recover lost money, and ensure middle-income taxpayers that their taxes are being spent wisely. Undercover investigations. I feel like liberals would not be particularly happy about this, right? Because it kind of is an invasion of privacy and a lack of trust of citizens. Undercover investigations. Raising this up a bit could be good just to help with the... And we don't really care much about conservatives, I guess, because most of the country is identifying as a liberal. We could just try to boost here. Firearms actually increase, of course, right? Allowing, yeah, having looser firearm rights would be a... Liberals would appreciate that, because right now they're taking a hit because they can't, they don't have the liberty to, you know, own a gun. What would this do if we just went here and said, like, minimum? I mean, the thing is, license and minimum, it's funny that this is here in this spectrum, because this is kind of like, you have to have a license and a minimum age. Obviously, you don't want kids, like, running around buying guns and stuff, right? Like, right? I think most people would agree to that. If we went here, though, it's saying violent crime would go up. Patriots would like this. We don't really have too many patriots in the country. This really does, this isn't going to be the best way. They don't seem to care much about this issue. Right to die. Single doctor agreement. Families agreement. Interesting. Oh, gambling's over here. That's right, gambling's over here. Okay, so it's its own thing on the board. Oh, we've already looked at this. We could probably raise this up a bit, but it's kind of expensive on the political capital. It does do a fair bump to the liberals there, though, which is kind of nice. We only have 18 political capital. We could just save this. Order Navy. I mean, our economy is doing really, really well, so it kind of seems like, you know, 15 billion surplus. Honestly, what does education get us? What if we just invested all of our money into education? Do liberals like this? Oh wait, did liberals like... Wait a second. Did liberals like the secular... Going more secular with the education? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I don't think we go atheist, because that seems kind of... To me, that seems kind of weird and pointless. Let's save up some political capital. Yeah. Let's save the political capital from this turn to the next. Oh no, pollution hit? Oh, that's going to be an insane problem. We knew that was a possibility. A new airport is planned for the capital, far off the city center. What should be used as the main connection to the airport and the city center? Buses, of course. Bus usage up by 3%. Obesity's gone, which is good. Unfortunately, pollution is hit. Oh man, that's going to be a pain to try to take care of. It's going to be an absolute pain. We have a surplus of 25 billion euros, though. Let's go. I think we invest this in education mostly. 36. I'm going to save the political capital. We're just going to go to there. Let's go in and see if we could. What can we do for the environment here? Climate Change Adaptation Fund. We can spend up to 26 billion euros on this. And presumably this will help. Environmentalist membership will go up. Farmers will like this. Unemployment goes down. I'm assuming this has to affect the environment, right? Doesn't actually say. It doesn't. A CO2 campaign. CO2 emissions. What are our CO2 emissions? There's still a little bit of CO2 emissions. This is pretty cheap to do. Car usage goes down as well. This is really cheap. I think we do this one. Desalination plants. Although expensive and energy intensive, it is a solution to water shortage where multiple other methods to prevent the shortage have failed or insufficient or unpopular. It's not very energy efficient. Most people do like this. Have we had water issues? Of course, I believe California has desalination plants, right? Not that, I guess that's something that maybe, I don't know the details of their system down there. They might need more and better ones or modernized ones or something, because I know obviously there's some massive droughts that they've been experiencing for the last few years. We, as in, I guess, the United States. Of course, other places around the world are experiencing intense droughts too. I didn't know if Germany was. And I mean, this isn't saying Germany is, but presumably that could happen, right? There could be a drought that could pop up, and we would have to try to do something like this to kind of counterbalance that. But for now, I don't think we need this. State Postal Service. Is there not a state postal service in Germany? Unemployed would go down, which is good. We kind of want to get the unemployed down. Productivity would go up. Relatively cheap to get this implemented. Why didn't we have a state? Why didn't we have a state? I don't know why we didn't have that already. The gig economy, because the GDP is doing so well, everyone's just dropping their jobs and going for the gig economy. Everybody's making it as a stand-up comedian, basically. So something like this would actually counterbalance the gig economy. Gig economy is just something that I don't know why. What does this negatively affect if it kicks in? We should, if we do not act soon, yeah, but what happens if it actually kicks in? Because it seems like for the most part, this isn't the worst thing in the world. This is a kind of a sign of a good economy. You can see that high technology pushes it up. Unemployment actually pushes it up. So that's actually probably what we want to hit. We probably want to hit the unemployment, which is still kind of like obnoxiously high compared to like crime, and poverty is actually getting up there a little bit more too. Large internet company has announced plans to buy out one of its major competitors. The merger needs government approval. No. We've learned from Comcast. Although I don't know how much Comcast is actually in terms of buying up competitors, or just sort of was expanding, at the right times into the right areas, I guess. And Comcast, of course, is really only dominant, I think, on the west coast of North America. In certain regions, certain areas. And that's kind of the nature. I guess all those IP or ISPs kind of have their own little localized monopolies in many cases. In the East Coast, I think it's a lot better from people I've heard from on the East Coast. Yeah, unemployment. If we could do something, we have an immense amount of money that we can invest. Major road. I feel like this would reduce unemployment, reduce traffic congestion. Environmentalists don't like it. Car usage would go way up. State rail. Unemployment would go way down. Capitalists don't like it. Poverty goes down. Rail usage goes up. Productivity goes up. Corruption goes up. Just because I guess it's a big state operation, you're just expanding massively. The little bit of corruption that just sort of persists that would, I guess, corruption would be, I mean, corruption in any kind of corporation or big business or anything like that, private or public. Commuter income. This seems like this could be kind of neat at the cost of 10 billion euros to expand the state rail company. What else could we do? Congestion charging, carpooling campaign. Some of this stuff is just kind of a no-brainer. We could easily just enact, the carpooling or the state. What the heck? Ban women? This is new from when I played. Ban women from driving? What the heck? I love the fact that stuff like this is in the game, but I guess there are countries in the world where this is probably the case, or it would be people's hope, like members of the country that would want it to be that, or conservative enough. And they're, a lot of times, usually these are like, think of like, Saudi Arabia or something like that as having, poor gender equality rights. Driverless car laws. So it'd be kind of cool. Commuters like this, technology, industrial automation, all kinds of good stuff. Just requires it requires a bunch of political capital. What do we try to do? I mean, some of this stuff, hopefully, fuel efficiency standards. Any of this stuff could affect the environment. The environment goes up. Less strain on the new cars are less of a strain on the environment. Clean fuel subsidies. This is pretty cheap. The environment would go up with this. 96%. I'd rather probably just be subsidizing like electric, but this is probably fine too. Where are the electric cars? Electric car initiative. There it is. We could bump this up significantly. It's actually very cheap on the political capital. Oil demand goes down. That the environment goes. This is great. We got to get that environment up. Unfortunately, like the pollution thing, I don't think it's going up. It is, well, yeah. Dang, man, it went up and then it went down. Because reforestation is still kicking in. So we triggered the event to get it to go away. It can't just go below the red line. It has to go below the green line. Okay, we need more. We have money. We need political capital. Have we expanded? We have not expanded the school system yet. I think, that's going to reduce unemployment massively. Yes. Yes. How much does that cost us? 21? Yes. Next turn, we're going to expand the schools, the state school system, the public education. Wait, what? This kicked in? Barely. The corporation tax is causing issues. It's causing issues. Traditional methods of taxing corporations break down when those organizations are large enough to span multiple continents. As more goods become digital and more money is spent on services than physical goods, defining exactly where sales take place and the profits that are earned becomes a legal nightmare. Large multinationals take advantage of this confusion to massively reduce the tax they pay in high tax jurisdictions. So what I don't understand is, in actuality, there are ways to deal with this, but in the game, it's just like technology is causing this, sales tax is causing this, corporations, like the game makes it sound like, okay, you must reduce these to do this. It's like, no, where's the install federal organization Like, where in Law and Order is the thing that's like specifically like the white collar, FBI for like, or the IRS funding or something, you know what I mean? I mean, whatever they call it in Germany, right? Like to give the regulators more power or more money and therefore more ability to do their job to regulate. And they're saying it's complicated to figure out how much that these companies owe. Therefore, they get away either owing less or just sort of slipping by somehow. So make sure that the people that are there to task to figure out what these companies owe and make sure that the companies are paying what they owe. Like give those institutions more support, right? Especially as our economy is booming and everything like that, and we have the surplus, we could invest it into something like that. But where is that like here? You know what I mean? Where's like tax avoidance? What would be the tax collection agency or whatever, or something like that. It might be something that's already on the board, right? It might be something that's on the board that just needs more funding, but something like that needs to be in the game. Something like that needs to be in the game. A tax. What do we have here? Just like a regulation agency or something, right? Like inheritance tax. These are literally types of taxes. Car tax, charity relief tax, married couples. I don't see anything here. These are all literal just taxes. Capital gains tax, yada yada. Okay. Oh, what is this? Private space industry. Let's go. Patriots like this, GDP likes this, everyone likes this. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, so I don't know how to reduce this without purely just reducing these things, which I feel like there should be other ways to do it, but wait, is it in the economy? Capsio pay multiplier. It's interesting. Some of these are definitely new. You could specifically go the route of being like sort of a tax shelter for other international businesses and draw them in. Our GDP is already really great. We don't really need to do much in that sense. Just a flat out coal ban, huh? The environment actually really likes this. The voters don't like it as much. Everybody loves the idea of doing carbon capture and storage. Estimated popularity with the voters 100%, which is kind of interesting. CO2 emissions go down, which we still could bring those down more. It would cost us quite a bit. But CO2 emissions affect the environment, right? It's not explicitly saying it's affecting the environment. Pollution is coming down now. Sorry guys, I've got to just looking around a little bit. What do we have? Oh, we wanted to do this. That's right. We wanted to do the schooling. There we go. Let's just max this out. Let's invest in our education to the max. And we'll probably still have a good surplus to play around with in the next time. We have about 2 or 3 quarters left before the elections happen. It looks like our popularity is really good. I mean, I don't know what the polling's actually like. It could have been better, right? I mean, does this mean we're going to win? Voter intention. Oh yeah, this looks like we're getting, if this is the amount of people that are voting, and this is the amount of people that are voting for us, does that mean we're getting 50% of the 80? I'm not sure exactly how to read that, but it looks like we might be able to give a speech or something as well. What's this? Oh, this is just showing how we've moved. So we're moving into a more, we're moving more liberal, which is good because most of our people in our country could identify themselves as liberal. But we're actually somehow we took a step back towards the capitalist mindset rather than the socialist mindset, which is interesting. But otherwise, we're kind of riding a fine line here. it seems. What did we do recently that kicked it the other way? I mean, either way, boosting up our public education system should center us there, I would imagine. Guys, thanks everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. If you guys have questions or comments down below, or just general feedback, whether or not you guys enjoy the democracy playthrough or not. Of course, this game is in early access, and it's getting some regular updates all the time. It's still it's fantastic to play now, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing when it's released eventually. But thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back in the next episode.